This is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, with Erolai, Kreese, and Mark, bringing you all your DFFOO news and talk. Welcome to Season 4, the LDBT era. Now let's start the show.
Hey everyone, and welcome to tonight's show. I am Mark, one of your wonderful hosts, and I'm so glad you've joined us for another The Crystal Chronicles. Now, before we begin, we have a very special episode ahead. Over the last couple weeks, you've seen some of my friends here. Of course, we had Best Girl Noah right there. We had Trolly McTroll, Una herself. In light of our upcoming banner tonight from one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy IV or Final Fantasy II here in North America, I dug out my officially licensed Squex Play Arts Edward figure. So I wanted to share that before we go. Oh, he fell apart. Hold on. And just get some hype, get some good luck. And here he is in all of his glory. There you go. Very well done. This is the Dissidia. the Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia version of Edward. If you can see him in all of his glory, really, really nice. You can get that at Squex.com, I think. Really, really nice. So good luck on all of your pulls. We're going to be doing some pulls tonight, and this is for Ink. Ink, I know. This is for you, buddy. So let's get some spoons. Get some spoons in chat. Hey, this is episode 122 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded this October 8th, 2020. As I said, I am Mark, and I welcome you. Appreciate all you being here. But I'm also joined by my two co-hosts. First, you know her. Her name is Erolai. Ero, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. I finished with the census. It was definitely an interesting experience. I might have to go more into it in the post show.
Something to look forward to, folks. Hey, and we're also joined by the professor of evaluations. You know him as Kreese. Kreese, how are you?
Doing okay today. It's been a hectic week, but it's been low key today, so I have been doing well.
Yes, I realized that visual for the podcast listeners was not very good. That was more of a visual joke that I did. Yes, my Edward figure was just a spoon, a plastic spoon with cut out a costume of Edward on it. For those of you listening at home, Jeff Leopard is saying, if your kids made it, they're talented. If you did, you're not. I did made that. I made that at church earlier this week. That was my craft project, and I thought it was very nice. Thank you. My mother was an art teacher. I am not. There you go. Well, that's enough of that. There are some news. Not a lot of news. We're going to have maintenance here, or we already did have maintenance. Did we already have maintenance for the reworks?
No, I think the maintenance will be starting in about a half hour.
Okay, so we're about to have some maintenance, of course, to get new character information and Palum's rework taken care of. We also have a couple costumes. By those costumes, Una and Noel are available. I own both of them, although I have no idea why I have the Noel costume. That was just in the era that I bought all the costumes. I don't do that anymore, but because of the Moogle Pass, of course. But yeah, I do have it. And so if you like Red Null or Gunner Una without guns, those are options for you. So last week, of course, what we've all been doing this week is the raid event Despair from the Abyss, Despair Far, and Despair Near. The more I say that and the more I talk about it, the more I think that this is an episode of Sesame Street. And DFFOO wants us to know the difference between near and far. Near and far. The fights are fairly similar, so I'm not really sure what the difference was there. But we have been all doing the raid challenge.
The big difference is we started with the far, and then as it got closer, then we had to do the near fight.
So I have finished all of my Cosmos. You had to do about 20 Cosmos fights, and then you had to do about 20 Chaos fights, and of course, very different. Mino, are you actually joining us, or I thought you were listening? So Mino's yelling at us for not introducing him. Mino Spellgood is also here. I don't know if he's actually going to say anything. Mino, are you actually joining us, or are you just listening?
Thanks, Mark. Big fan. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. So for the intro for me, thank you for asking. I've been pretty busy. I just recently got a promotion to board prep at In-N-Out, and it's a small pay increase, but I've been just so fucking busy. And I guess once you get to a certain level, your job is more meetings than doing actual work. And that's what I'm really experiencing now. It's hell. I'm drinking more than ever. I'm 3 beers in already. Podcast hasn't started yet. But yeah, no, thank you for having me to come on and talk about one of my favorite characters, Edward. And I also have nice things to say about Kimari too. So stay tuned for that.
All right. There you go. So welcome, Mino, and keep drinking, and we'll see if you're still around after a while. Where the hell was I? Hey, no, raid. So, about 20 on each. Now, a lot better than the Japanese version of the game, which had to do 50 and had some bugs and other issues, disconnection issues going on. So it was a little bit more of a nightmarish grind. I have finished my Cosmos. I'm about 7.5 million into the Chaos one. So I still have maybe 5 runs left with that. So, Arrow, how are you doing in the raid? How are you feeling about it? Is it too much, too little? How do you think? What do you think?
I wish it was only 10 Chaos fights, because then I'd be done. I'm about where you're at on the Chaos raid, Mark. On the Cosmos one, I've actually gotten all the base rewards. I'm at that point where you just get the orbs. I might do it over the weekend. Thank goodness I will have that, because I just haven't had a lot of time to play this week.
That is understandable, very much so. Kreese, how are you doing in that?
I think I'm right around the 7 million mark. I'm double checking right now. 7.3 million. I've had a couple Renoa deaths, which has slowed me down a bit.
Yeah, the raid's going
For some reason, Renoa is prone to die in this.
The raid's going much better now that I have Arden's burst weapon, so that's good. Mino, how, you've been busy with that promotion, a lot of Zoom meetings, but have you made time for the raid?
Well, Mark, it is Microsoft Teams meetings for some reason. I don't know if that's better or worse, but it is, and it's horrible. And I guess there's some Slack involved too. I don't fucking know. More money, more problems, guys. Don't ever promote. It's terrible. But also, yes, I take care of business. All my stuff is done. I can't believe all of you guys are slacking. There's more than half over the raid event, and you guys aren't even done yet. 5 more days, four more days at this in an hour. And no, I took care of it. It was horrible the entire way. But as an adult, I do things that I hate all the time. And I think I soloed 90% of it with my own bells, because I kept falling asleep when I was running co-ops and wiping. I'm guilty of playing Arden and dying a couple of times for sure. And no, it was fucking horrible. Square Enix, never do this again. I don't think anybody likes it. There's a lot of people that I've seen complain that there's 20, and I know in the original there were 50, and there are a lot of people who say they don't even want to do 20 for gems and tickets. For every person who asks for harder co-op content, go fuck yourselves. Nobody likes this. This is not enjoyable. If you want to challenge yourselves, do a TCC challenge or play a harder game, but do not inflict mandatory, grindy, terribly difficult, can wipe you when you're not paying attention, and waste 30 minutes of your life content into my casual gacha game. Thank you.
Yeah, I hear that.
I agree. The fact that these chaos co-ops, even when I'm doing them solo, can take upwards of 15 minutes per run, sometimes 20 minutes. is a slog, which is the reason I'm only at 7.3 million, because I'll do 2 a day and then say, yeah, I'm done now. I'll wait until tomorrow to do any more.
I feel you, Crease. You know what? We got a post show. We can give the viewers some more raids, I guess. We're done.
That's true. Well, in case you didn't have enough of this event, like some of you, we did have a TCC challenge, and we always do that in collaboration with Macnol at DissidiaFFOO.com, who does the call to arms. And so I do want to talk about the TCC challenge for Despair from the Abyss. We banned the following characters, all synergy characters, on top of all synergy characters, Eldnar, Shemitah Tillion, 9, I think that is. They all look the same to me. Bosch, Desh, Garnet, Afmau, Noctis, Machina, No Burst. All bans apply to friends. You could choose whether to do near or far. But go ahead.
You could do both too if you wanted.
Well, I was going to segue into, if you wanted to do both, you could do the Extreme Challenge, the same ban list, no burst mode, no friend. You only had Spirit Moogle or Chocobo as your summon, and you had to do both Chaos fights, X-Death, Sephiroth, with 2 different teams, but the same crystal colors. So if you did black, blue, red, you had to use different characters, but black, blue, and red. Is that confusing enough or difficult enough? Apparently not, because we had a lot of people, not a huge number, this has only been out for a couple of days, but a few number of people, Pikachu, Valor, or Valor, yeah, like Valor, Negiasu, Eodin Phoenix, Type Next, S. Karas 30, Yoshi Pasta, Levi X, Scott, Carrie, Levi, just trying to skip over ones, Theologica.
Mark.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Why didn't you align the names for the extreme challenges?
What do you mean?
They had to, if there was an extreme challenge for near, there had to be an extreme video for far, which meant the list had to be identical, but the names aren't aligned.
Well, blame Macnol, because I just tried to copy. I just tried to copy off of the database. So whatever. I think they're the same. It's the same names. They're just in different order.
Names. They're just not in order.
Yeah, because they weren't in order in that. I don't know how spreadsheets work. Anyway, the Clay, Nakitana, Infamous Element, Swifty, Destroth, MZ Pro, and Theologica are the extreme winners. So go check out all their wonderful content. They all have YouTube channels. You can go to DissidiaInfo.com, go to the call to arms, and check out all of that stuff.
A couple of things to note about the TCC challenge this time. We decided to let both HP Silence characters through, so Kefka and RCL are both available for this. We decided to let them through once we decided what the extreme challenge was, to give people some wiggle room, since they're both different crystal characters. If you decided to use them for the 2 fights, you would have to lock yourself into a white-black crystal team. So you have some creativity there, it just locks your options.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting choice, and I think people had fun with it. The few that did the TCC Challenge Extreme Edition. And be on the lookout for others. Ray, there has been 16 challenge quests. Those are, of course, different from TCC Challenge. There's been a lot of those. But in terms of in-game challenge quests, there has been 16, including the Kimari Lost Chapter. Edward will be number 17. So you could possibly, after tonight, have 17 burst tokens just from challenge quests. Isn't that fun? Yeah, and that's one of our questions for host discussion later about challenge quest tokens, burst tokens. So let's move from the raid event to an event we had a couple days ago, Kimari's Lost Chapter, Unbreakable Pride, which brings back everyone's favorite Hornless Ronzo, Kimari. So, Kreese, tell us a little bit about Hornless, who got a rework and a limited weapon. LD?
Sure. So Kimari did not actually get that substantial of a rework. It was pretty small, all things considered. His party auras got slightly increased, and he got more brave hits on his abilities, and he got some brave damage increases and an increase in stolen overflow. That's pretty much it. His kit didn't change much. It just got the number tweaks it needed to be better overall. Just as an overview on what exactly his kit did to be before, in case anyone forgot. Skill 1, the way his skills work, Skill 1 and Skill 2, was that they had a base version where they did a basic action, but if he had his special passive Ronso traits active, then they would follow up with a second ability. So Skill 1 is Lancet, but if he has Ronso traits active, then he follows up with Thrust Kick, so it's Lancet Thrust Kick. Skill 1 basically does 2 Brave plus HP attacks. It also heals the party based on damage dealt, which makes it a pretty good party heal along with dealing damage. It's also Kimari's source of his special buff, Ronso traits. So make sure you're watching for Ronso traits. Do not let that fall off, or he does not get this special kicker. Skill 2 is Mighty Guard Bad Breath. If when Kimari uses this, he batteries the party, he applies an HP damage resist. It's not very strong, it's only 20% HP damage reduction. But he also does an AoE Brave HP attack that applies the Bad Breath debuff, which is a poison attack, max Brave down, frame debuff to all targets. Nothing too special, but it's nice. His EX ability is AoE plus full HP damage to the enemies. Decent recharge speed, does total blindness, which is 100% accuracy reduction for 1 turn. He batteries the party on both his Brave Plus and his HP Plus. He does not leave any Brave for himself after he uses his HP Plus, so be careful with that. And the new fancy thing he got was his LD, White Wind. He has 4 uses of it, and it does a couple things. 1, it gives him a new buff called Winds of Gagazet, which gives the party a small attack and Brave buff, and also Brave regen. As long as party members are above 80% HP, these effects are doubled. So Kimari has a huge incentive to keep his party healed up so that these party effects are at their strongest, and he also provides party HP regen while Winds of Gagazet is active. Along with that, he also heals the party when he uses this ability. It's a very big heal, it's a 60% party HP heal. He batteries the party based on his attack, and then he does a single target Brave plus HP attack, and he also extends his own buffs by 1 turn when he does this. So it's a very strong single target attack, coupled with a big party heal, coupled with a big party battery. So it's a very strong LD attack, basically. In my opinion, I pulled for Kimari's kit this time around with his rework LD. This LD plus the rework tweaks makes him a very strong character. He works as the party healer, he works as a party battery, he works as a decent debuffer. Bad Breath isn't that powerful a debuff, but it's a nice little kicker. Total Blindness, if you can time it properly, is very effective in shutting down specific attacks, which he can show off very well in his LC. He brings pretty strong party auras now. He has a pretty strong attack auras, max Brave auras. He now gives some HP regen and Brave regen. And he actually brings a pretty nice chunky defense aura if you get his artifacts worked up. Ronso Guardian Boost. So all in all, he's a pretty strong package. He's a very powerful character. The only kicker is you just got to make sure you keep your party healed up, which isn't too hard considering he has the HP damage resist and he has the HP regen. And between his LD and his skill 1, he can heal the party pretty well. And again, he has decent number of skills. He has decent HP and Brave Plus to work from. He has ways to battery the party. He works very well, in my opinion. I think he's a very strong character now. He works very well as a party healer. He works very well as a support character, and he can deal decent damage. So that's my spiel on Kimari. So, Mino, I know you have plenty of thoughts on Kimari too. Why don't you take it from here?
I'll try to be positive. So, shit. I mean, let's start with the good. So, another member of the community convinced me to throw some resources at Kimari because Kalith, he told me with Abyss becoming a semi-regular thing, probably we're going to see it once every other month. And the amazing curveballs it throws at you. First of all, Kimari, his aura total is some of the best in the game, for sure. Top tier, absolutely. Some of the highest attack boosts. Max Brave is above average. Everything else is really, really good. He has enough healing to serve as a primary healer. And I was convinced that if Abyss ever throws a fucking spear substrata at us, that Kimari will be invaluable. So I at least threw a bunch of tickets. I got all his weapons, but I was not... I like him, and I think he's actually a fun character, but I'm not sold enough to purple his EX with the limited amount of ingots I have. And by limited, I mean I think I have like 12, but you know. Why are you scoffing? Why are you scoffing? That's not that many. I can only purple
that's not that many. It's more than I have, but it's not that many.
I'm looking forward to that giant ingot package they're talking about that's coming on the 13th. Yeah, let's just buy that. But you know, I actually had fun playing with him on his challenge quest. There are a lot of things since Kreese went pretty positive. Let me point out some of the downsides to keep in mind about Kimari. One is his shaving will not scale well going forward. He doesn't have that many hits. The potencies aren't that great. Sure, he has a lot of self batteries, and the healing is great, but he is not a great shaver, which is fine if you view him as a support character. Secondly, is that Nova will be pretty useful for the next month or two, and then True Hit starts coming up a lot. I've talked to a lot of JP players, and they're saying, 8 LD comes up in about a month, and he seems fantastic at first, and then it's followed by months and months of True Hit where you just cannot dodge the attack. The attacks will always hit. And same with Lufania orbs, right? Like, you're not going to Nova a Lufania orb. So it is situationally useful, but don't let the 100% blind fool you on its usefulness. It's not going to cheese top tier content or endgame content. But besides that, his auras are still very, very impressive. You know, I was in love for a while. The healing is great. He brings a lot of utility. I'm sure in some world the defense, the 200% total defense boost can be useful if paired with like brave damage reduction or whatever. But there's somebody else coming tonight who can buff almost as hard as him and do a lot more. So, but again, Kimari is a spear using support user. It's hard to talk about who's going to be useful going purely on JP content. You know, Abyss can really, really throw some shit. Look how useful these blue daggers turned out to be in this last tier of Abyss. I would say Abyss was the true endgame for GL. That was a lot harder than Entropy and what else did we have? Challenge quests and stuff. Yeah, I really look forward to the Abyss you can't, gem revive to clear. But yeah, Kimari, I pulled Kimari just because, remember, at the end of the day, DFFOO is all about roster variety, and I feel like he fills a lot of holes. It's nice to have a very up-to-date aura bot, healer, spear user. He fills a lot of niches that nobody else does. Arrow, do you have any thoughts on Kimari?
He's our best FF10 character right now. Woo!
Yeah,
that is true.
So finally, the FF10 dev decided to get off his ass and make somebody in FF10 not feel terrible to use, or like came too late in Oren's case. Anyway, I like him a lot. I actually went for my first LD pity, my first pity since Penelo, just to give you an idea of how long ago my last pity was. But I feel like he's going to be really interesting. He's the kind of support, like defensive support, we haven't really seen in some time. And like, I think we have some interesting characters he can be paired with coming into Lufania. I know there's a lot of stuff where, yeah, you can't dodge with True Hit. But the thing is, just that amount of utility makes him one of the best. Just, I need a third character, and you don't know what to take. Just take Kimari. I mean, he's kind of in that role. And hey, I like characters like this because it means I don't have to think too hard, too long, trying to put a team together to beat content. I like characters like this. And I really think the debuff is nice, even if it's not the strongest from his bad breath. the fact that you can stack it with other poison users or other max braid down users is a very nice utility to have, especially since we have a lot of really good max brave down debuffers and a lot of decent poison users as well that are still kind of relevant. Otherwise, I mean, yeah, he's not a shaver, but I hope you're not taking him for that anyway. You've got 2 other party members. Just build around that. That's pretty much my general feelings on him. I'm going to pass it over to Mark now.
Yeah, Pons, or the Pons hope I did that right, says he's great for TCC Challenge, right? So he does pair really well with Gabranth. Their debuffs match really well. The Brave Damage Up helps him a lot, obviously. If you want to take advantage of that 170+% defense buff, you really need to bring strong attack down auras. And that's limited use, obviously. I have him as well. I got his gear. I didn't have anything, so I ticketed the banner. I got his LD and his EX. Like Mino, his EX is not realized for me, but I did fully board him and everything else. I have no artifacts on him, as I did not use any artifact tokens to give him artifacts. Obviously, he did fine in the challenge quest without any issue. My unit is purple too, so that doesn't hurt. The issue that I had with him was, I know you want to use his LD because that gives you the Winds of Gagazet, which is the party aura that really helps. But I have trouble using an LD that is a healing LD unless I need to heal.
Just use it turn 1.
I know. Well, that's what I should have done, but I was having trouble convincing myself that I need to do it because I was just like, oh, I'm sure I'll take a couple, AOE HP attacks and I'll need to heal, and I never did. So it's like turn 20. I'm like, I guess I should use this LD, right? So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but it's a great heal. I mean, I hate to use burst healing when you don't have to heal, right? It's just not one of those things. Yeah, you mean Arden solo World Part 4. Well, Arden was involved, Zarathi, right? I mean, he was there. He didn't solo. Yuna and Kimari were helping.
I see that Reddit post. Somebody said, hey, Kimari's challenge quest isn't that hard if you have Arden's BT fully kitted out. It was the most ridiculous post I've ever seen. They're like, hey, my purple Arden with every weapon and perfect artifacts could carry an unrealized Kimari and Yuna. And then I think the comments were like, Arden can solo this if he's that built. Like, what are you talking about? Like, they're like, who is this helping? Because either you have a maxed out Arden that can do all the challenge quests, or you don't, and you're fucked. So like, but no. Yeah, like we're getting to the point where challenge quests are kind of becoming trivial. Noctis and Arden could solo a lot of their own, and they're only going to get weaker as we go on. So yeah, guys, we're entering this period that I feared that people were going to be like, why do you guys think this is hard? Just use the maxed out BT 2-week character. That's all it's going to be going forward. So let's pretend we don't have those. And I think the TCC challenge bans the BTs and everything, right? With the
Yeah.
Burst mode and BT character are banned.
Yes.
And oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just going to say, CSAM says, why would you character board a character who's not purple? Because we have crazy amount of character board points.
Yeah, I was going to say, CSAM, it's because if you're buying the Mog Pass every month,
many character points,
you are drowning. Like, yes, you do have to budget your character points if you aren't buying the Mog Pass constantly. But with the Mog Pass, you're doubling your character points, and I'm sitting on like 80,000. And the other day, I was like, who the fuck can I throw these at just to get rid of them? I'm afraid I'm going to cap soon, and there aren't enough good characters to do it. So I'm just throwing it at whoever I get weapons for at this point. Like, pay to win,
Yeah, I partially boarded Lula Zed. I partially boarded Maria. I partially boarded Kimari. Why not? Like I said. The character board point cap is 1 million, so you're not going to cap anytime soon, but why save? You're never gonna run.
Yeah, I don't want to go to 6 figures, so I'm trying to stay under 100K. That's just ridiculous. 100K is 20 characters to fully board. That's too much.
It's a lot.
Kreese, did you have any final thoughts on Ronzo?
This is the first FF10 character I fully realized.
Oh.
So This has broken my FF10 cherry, I guess.
He is.
I've skipped them all so far.
Well, this is TCC After Dark now. It is. So, hey, let's go to the podcast polls. Remember, our friend Quetzalma, Avi's not kicked in yet, folks. Quetzalma, who runs MateriaBot, and check out his. I'm going to have links to all of our friends here moving forward in our show notes and stuff, so you can check out the MateriaBot Patreon and help out MateriaBot. Does now a global TCC podcast poll. And so if we look to Oranzo, they're on 11 servers that took part in this particular. If you want to take part in it, you have a Discord, just talk to Quetz, and he'll set you up, and then you just add it every podcast poll you want to do. One person was going to plan to pity Arden's BT on this. 13. Only 13 souls willing to LD pity. 7 using gems. 97 using tickets, including, I think, pretty much everybody here but Arrow. Arrow, you used gems, you said, right?
Yes, I went all the way to the pity.
And you were one of those who said they were pitying. And 187 skipping. And again, if you already got Arden's Burst, there's probably a lot of skips on this banner and the next banner. And, if you're a big Final Fantasy VI fan, you're probably saving. If you're a big Final Fantasy VII fan, God help you, because there's a lot of characters to pull for coming up. All right. Well, there was what would you call it? There was a lost chick. Can I just say, spoilers for, this isn't a spoiler for the story, and the lost chapter stories aren't particularly, story heavy, but, I just felt after playing this lost chapter that, Kimari is just so lovable. I just wanted to give him a big hug. I mean, he's just such a lovable character, so that's not really a spoiler, but I just felt like, oh man, Kimari, what a great guy. Yeah, well, we did have a chaos fight and also a challenge quest, and that brought us 2 waves. The first wave was a mother weed with 2 weedlets. We fought this boss a billion times. It's not terrible compared to the Melboro, but it has this ability to buff its ads, giving them defense up, attack up, bravery gen. If you kill the ads, it gives itself HP regen and speed up. It does have the ability to do, the ads have the ability to do poison, defense down, speed down to the party. It has the ability with its breath to do blind, speed down, and poison. And then its blind becomes even better with the stench attack. 5 turns of blind, 5 turns of speed down, 5 turns of poison, 5 turns attack down, 5 turns defense down. So obviously some type of damage or debuff mitigation or cleanse. Yuna is synergy, obviously, is really helpful. But we fought these. You just want to be careful to make sure that you're taking care of the brave on the ads. And if you kill them and then if you kill them and she respawns them, you have to kill them again. They don't automatically die the second time like some of the bosses. So I just know that because that's what happened to me in the challenge quest. And then we have the Ostiovavis. 2 of them this time, which is exciting, right? Normally we only fight one of these big scary skeleton monsters. And they're not terrible, but of course they have this recast ability called N-Ball, which inflicts 10 turns of Int Brave down, Attack Brave down, and Elemental Resist down. So it's trying to just cap you considerably. Of course, they have this new thing where they do Brave reduction at various intervals, lots of other debuffs, and so, yeah, not a lot of HP attacks. Windstorm is 1, Ice Storm and Firestorm, the elemental attacks, and the recast ability, but obviously, if you had Arden, this was not an issue. Kimari does really help here. Yuna actually does her job very well with the Suna. But if you brought somebody like Aphmau or somebody like Bosch, just completely destroys it. Edward's going to completely destroy it. But you have Lena and Aphmau, and Iggy's a little outdated, but anybody who can give you debuff management. But Yuna still does that. Who else am I forgetting in the debuff management role? But we have a few good ones still. Afma is still very, very, very good. So yeah,
You
Lena.
mentioned Lena, right?
Yep, Lena's good. Drew Zane says, our friend Drew Zane. So again, I had Arden fully leveled up. Yuna's fully purple and with perfect arts, and Kimari was what he was, and it was ridiculously easy. Obviously, when you have full synergy, it's supposed to, like, I think on the first attempt I did Renoa, Bosch, and somebody else.
You can always just bring Sauce to this too, and he'll just push the buffs away.
And
or
so
the debuff away.
even with with the Bosch Renoa team, I didn't have debuff evasion, and it was fine. So with enough support and Bosch tanking the enemies, it was fine. So yeah, Afma is still super powerful, and she's going to help you with this quite a bit. Arrow, any thoughts? I know you're always thinking outside the box when it comes to these fights.
Yeah, I decided to do 9 Maria and Sid. But I noticed like a lot of people did full Dragoon run, so I kind of felt silly afterwards only changing one character out, but I didn't realize this until I submitted to Call to Arms. So I also used a 9 friend, and essentially what I was thinking was I'll have these 2 Dragoons with a bunch of frame buffs on themselves and Maria with their 1, and just wipe all the extra debuffs that would come on the team, and then just use arrow rain and proper shot to basically override everything. It worked. I mean, the 9 friend kind of made it so I never really took any serious HP attacks. The most dangerous thing really is if they both are like on the same like spot, I guess, in the bar charge, and they both decide they're going to HP attack you. You're going to get that elemental resist down, and then that second in ball, if it decides to hit, if they're both charged and everything, if that hits you, you're probably going to be dead unless you're running something where you have HP damage mitigation of some sort. It can be pretty nasty. So you definitely got to pay attention to that. Otherwise, I didn't think this fight's too bad. You could definitely get by without a debuff immunity person. Just bring somebody who can override all the buffs over and over again. Like you guys mentioned, Saz is a pretty good choice. Maria just came out, so if you're newer, that's an option. Have we had anyone else, I guess, come out recently that could do something like that? I think we're having
coming tonight. So
yeah, that's true. We do have characters coming tonight who could help with that as well. Hope is coming back, so that's another really good choice actually for this fight. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it.
I did watch Arrow's run. She did a couple runs of this, the challenge quest and the regular chaos, and that's Laylee on YouTube. And make sure to check her out. Hope Starter reminds us you can use Eldnarsh as for a lot of things. On this as well. Somebody Reckless Harlot says Edge Hope Alice. Neither landed a single hit. So that's a good
could roll the dice with Waka, I guess, too.
Yeah.
With his blind.
Kreese, any thoughts on this fight?
It felt very easy, but I also just rolled through it with Arden, so I wasn't expecting it to be too hard.
Mino, any insights on the Kimari LC chaos?
Nope. Wake me up when garbage time's over.
Yeah. That's, not too long from now, right? We got one more cycle, right? And then we're in Lufania, right? I think, Warrior of Light's first Lufania. So one more cycle. Next month, garbage time should be over. And then we'll all be crying about Lufania. But don't worry, there's about 1,000 Lufania guides out there. And our friends, the Tonberry Troupe, did an excellent Lufania guide. Check that out, tonberrytroupe.com. I had in my head like there's a little Tonberry Troupe jingle. Work on that. Where's Ryan? Let's get Jeff. Jeff plays guitar. Ryan, Rez, get our music people. Let's get a Tonberry Troupe jingle so we can get that all part of it. We don't have. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kreese. We don't have a TCC challenge yet for this.
Not yet.
Okay.
I'll start working on it, and we'll get it out soon.
All right. Well, look forward to the TCC challenge. Let's talk, and once we hit the event in about 19 minutes, I think we're gonna just pause wherever we are, and then we'll do a we'll do our polls. We'll do our multi polls, and I'll keep probably doing tickets on air, but so we can share that. So we got about 19 minutes until this new event comes. So let's talk about one of my favorite names for any event. kind of with Thancred. Thancred's event, of course, was named He Who Sings of Love. Edward's event is named Love, the Melody of Courage. So, a lot of bard talks. But we're not just getting Edward. We are also getting Palum's rework in EX Realization, one of the final EX realizations. So, Kreese is going to walk us through Palum. Of course, the game is currently in maintenance.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Palum.
So Palum's rework is pretty substantial. His kit's been not overhauled, but tuned up substantially from where it used to be. Now everything has a lot more brave hits, a lot more stolen overflow or gained overflow, and just does a lot more damage, just brave damage or brave gain or anything. So, skill 1, Bluff. It now has 6 brave hits attached to it before it does any damage. Has a lot more overflow. The brave gain based on attack is much stronger. It's now also frost elemental. So everything that Palum does is frost, except for brave plus and dual cast, but those will get frost element once he uses Stardust. And since I'll break this, I'll ruin the surprise now. Once he realizes EX, he can use Stardust from the get-go. And he starts with Dark Arts and Dark Wisdom active. So he has his full kit already active from the word go once you fully realize his EX. So Bluff, as you remember, Bluff and Mysidian Ice Crystal get stronger every time you use them. And you would normally have had to use both of them to get him off the ground. You don't need to do that anymore because he will start with 8 turns of them active to begin with now. Bluff, just Brave Gain gets better every time you use it. And it just will do 6 Brave hits. Simple enough. Mysidian Ice Crystal is 8 Brave hits now and starts with 50% splash. Every time you use it, that splash damage goes up. So at plus, it is 70% splash. At plus, it is 90% splash. And at Great Mysidian Ice Crystal, it is 100% splash. So this is Palum's basically on-demand call for increased splash damage whenever he needs it. Obviously, he can't use it too much because it's limited, but going over to that, his Brave Plus is now 6 Brave hits and high turn rate, and Dual Cast now has 50% splash damage on it. Another note is that his Dark Wisdom buff now has Stolen Overflow on it, increased Stolen Overflow along with the max Brave gain, so he will have increased Stolen Overflow as he increases Dark Wisdom stacks. So yeah, his base kit's a lot stronger. Stardust, if you fully realize his kit, will extend the duration of Dark Arts and Dark Wisdom, Brave Plus, and Dual Cast by 3 turns each. He gets 6 turns of Frost Enchant. He applies Frost Resist down to all enemies for 4 turns. And he will do 2 AoE Brave plus HP attacks, split damage. First AoE Brave is 4 hits, second is 7 hits, and it's a fast charging EX, so even though he's going to be relying extensively on his Brave and HP plus attacks, it should charge reasonably quickly. I know Arrow has more experience with Palum than I do, so she'll be able to talk more on it, and we'll see how this really works out once he's fully realized, but the basic idea is he's still going to be the same pure damage Frost Mage he always was, but now he's going to be doing it a lot better than he was because 6 Brave hits on a HP plus that does 50% splash damage, he's basically going to last forever, is the idea. And yeah, he can always switch over to his skill 2 if he needs to do more splash damage, and he has the fast charging EX that he can get up to speed faster if he uses his skills to quickly get it up. I think that's all I have to say. He works well in parties, but he's also one of those, like, third slot characters. He doesn't bring anything to the party except for Frost Resist down. He is tied to a single element. He brings 0 party utility. He is there to do damage, and that is all he'll do, damage. He's also relatively tied to doing single target damage, single target Brave Shave. The only way he can do AoE Brave attacks is with his EX. In a pinch, he can turn to his additional ability to do some brave hits to an alternate target. Excuse me. But those are only 2 brave hits, and he only has 2 uses of that additional ability, so that can be used only sparingly. So keep that in mind. He's mostly tied to single target. I think those are the key points, so I will pass it off to Mino now.
Let's try to stay positive about this too. Fuck. I guess if you don't have Kane or Yuffie, a maxed out Palum is a marginally faster farmer. If you don't have any great manual farmers for artifacts and orbs and crystal shards, I fucking guess. I guess if you really want to put ingots into that, he's good for manual farming, marginally faster than some of the best out there. His AoE damage is pretty impressive. His HP has skill level potencies, and if you need ice, sure. I mean, he's very workable in AoE fights coming up, like Galufania, where you have 3 targets. If for some reason you don't have Onion Knight and you don't want to pull for Kurosame, Palum's ice damage does well enough to get you through Kurosame's Lufania. Like for an EX plus budget character, those are the best things I can say about him. To be honest, even if I pull his EX, I'm not going to invest any ingots, and I'm sour on EX plus characters in general. I really, controversial opinion, do not think EX plus only characters are worth as much of an investment as, say, characters getting their LDs. Realm aside, because waifu. But, I guess there are some Palum fans out there, and as Final ASIM says, it's a TCC tier character. So, not a top tier character, not a frontline character, not a progression character, but someone just under the radar enough that you can run on gimmick teams and won't get banned, and you can do challenges with, strong enough to keep up. And Arrow, any thoughts?
I mean, I'm probably like the only one of the 5 people who pulled Palum EX back in a year and a half ago is what I think I saw in the chat. God, I thought it was like a little less time than that. But no, this is the first reprint of this EX since his own lost chapter. That's bonkers to me that this is not a broken character. This isn't like a Leon or Realm situation here where I can understand why they might have been avoidant to reprint at any time during Chaos Era. Don't look at me. I have no idea what happened here. But I liked him in the EX era. I mean, as somebody who used him off and on, I did use him quite often for TCC challenges back in the day, oddly enough. And I thought he was pretty good. His longevity was actually really nice back then in the HP Plus. He was very unique with that, just being able to spam it as much as he could and last as long as he did in battles. But I like that he's coming back with a better AoE niche. To me, this is Vivi wishes he was Palum. The fact that Palum has these 2 very potent frame buffs on top of an ice enchant, and then you can just throw whatever the heck else you want on him. That's better than Vivi, who has 4 generic buffs or some nonsense. Geez. And yeah, they're really good generic buffs, but they're generic buffs at the end of the day. So I like this character. I think he'll be a good auto farmer if you decide to purple him as well. He will start off with the HP plus right out the gate, so you can auto farm with him. He won't have a regen to worry about, so he'll be very fast at that. Let's see, what else is there to say? I mean, that hasn't been said. I think he's cool. I mean, I really like Palum from FF4 too. I'm actually a fan of the twins. I know a lot of people aren't, but I actually like them. I thought the whole thing in their story was really cool. Their little sacrifice and everything. I always thought they were very brave kids, and I really liked them a lot when I was a teenager, and I still like them as an adult. What else is there to really say? I mean, it's hard to justify going all in with this when, there's damage dealers already, very, 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 very good ones with LD, and then already know what they're going to get for some of them with their LD boards, like Machina, for example. And it's just do I really want to go all in with this? It's really hard to recommend when I know so many people at this point are low on ingots, are low on books. You know, they've got to pick every month, like there are 2 or 3 characters and that's it. And it's so easy to just skip over Palum because of the lack of utility. But if you have extra resources, I think this will be a very fun character. And you've already pointed out, Mino, that he will have some uses in a future Lufania, which is nice. And of course, if you're still trying to clear Dimensions End, you could probably take a budget Palum potentially to lower tiers, for example. So if you get him tonight and you're pulling for Edward, you could wind up very good for a beginner. That's just my general opinion and thoughts at this point. I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah, I hate Palum and Porum. They are 2 of my least favorite characters in the game. I will say the best thing about Palum tonight is the beautiful infographic that the Tonberry Troupe did. Dreamy really went out of his way with the art and just really captured the character very well. So check out that Tonberry Troupe infographic. Really the nicest thing I can say about Palum. But yeah, I mean, at this point, right, you know, a budget character. If you already have a ZX, if you like the character, you're going to get use out of him. He does ice damage. That can be helpful. At the other end of the spectrum, we just had Renoa, who, I mean, if you look at the infographic, right, the top of every infographic, they kind of have the various different roles that a character can offer. So if I look at, let me go back to Kimari here. Or let me compare it to, you know, let's compare apples to apples here, and look at Renoa, who just came out, who is a mage, who just came out, a magic damage dealer. She starts with R. So if I look at the top, you know, they do a good job. Magic attacker, healer, battery support. Covers lots of roles, right? You know, looking at somebody like Kimari. Damage mitigation, healer, battery, ranged attacker, support. Great. What's Palum? Magic attacker. That's all he does, right? And we got Renoa, who's a magic attacker with an LD. We just had 2 burst magic dealers with Vaughn and Shantoto. We're going to have another burst magic dealer, although he's more of a debuff support character, but he does decent damage because he has an LD and a burst and Kefka. We're going to have Strago, who's a really powerful mage. We're going to have Emperor get an LD, who's a power, and this is just this month, right? So, you know, if you're looking to fill your roster, he's probably not the character to do it. But if you already have it, or if you pick it up, you have some extra ingots, that's going to be what it is. He has great longevity, I will say that, and you know, you don't have to pull for an LD if you already have a ZX. If you're trying to not spend any gems whatsoever, he is a good character. Kreese, any final thoughts on the mischievous Black Mage?
Not really. I think Palum he's a solid budget character right now. If you need a damage dealer to fill out your slots, but you're also right, Mark. There have been other LD mages that have come, and there will be more LD mages coming in the future. So it's one of those things that if it depends on what your needs are, and also is Palum a favorite? Arrow said that Palum's a favorite, so definitely worth filling that, slotting in those ingots. But for the rest of us, I think we're edging towards no.
Yeah, and as Fennel Asim says, yeah, Squall is just a damage dealer. I mean, Vaughn is just a damage dealer. Shantoto's just a damage. Arden is kind of just a damage dealer too. But comparing to other damage dealers, he's got a lot of competition. Let me just say that. So.
Right. And I just want to say they all have LDs and some of them have BTs. Of course, they're going to be better than Palum. But for what Palum is right now, he's all right. I mean, he's going to get an LD soon in JP. Like what? When Edward LC comes at the end of, is it the end of this month or early next month? I can't remember. Yeah, but soon. It's coming. And the thing is, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So if you happen to pick it up tonight, hey, you have something to maybe potentially look forward to when Edward returns. Just something to think about. And again, like I think he is a very good budget character for newbies if you happen to get him. Because even with 0-3, you could slot this guy in on some of the lower tier Dimensions End stages, possibly even usable in some Abyss stages with that budget access, and he's a staff black crystal user. That's a useful combination. Actually, I believe there was a couple of stages that could use something like that.
Yeah, it's a good take, Arrow. Yeah.
It just depends on where you are in your roster, where you are as a player. You just keep those factors always in mind. So that's where I'm going to leave it.
Well, assuming maintenance ends in 4 minutes, we are going to get a brand new character, also from Final Fantasy IV. His name is Edward. He's a bard and a prince, has a tragic love story, kind of annoying. What's he all about, Kreese?
He is an interesting support. He has some interesting mechanics to the way he works. So Edward is what I will call very much a pure support. The way he is designed, he is meant to support the party. He doesn't bring as much pure offensive power as other characters have recently. He does have some offensive utility, but he's more designed around battering the party, providing helpful debuffs, and buffing the party more than anything else. So he does not bring any party buffs. All of his utility is packed into his auras, into the fact that he's going to provide a lot of brave regen, party battery. He can do some brave shaving, but he'll probably be relying more on his allies to do the brave shaving. He has some ability to be clever and avoid attacks at times if he needs to. And he has some nuances to the way his debuffs work. So let's go through that. Things to note. If you fully realize his EX weapon, he gets a free ability use on his first turn. That's an important thing. Another couple things. He has 2 notable characteristics for his unique buffs. He has one unique buff called Hero's Rhyme. It has 2 states it can be in, Hero's Rhyme 1 and Hero's Rhyme 2. Hero's Rhyme 1 is the default version of this buff. It functions as a party aura that gives himself and his allies stats based on that is attack, stolen overflow, and brave regen. He gains less of this than his allies do, so keep that in mind. He just gains about half of it compared to what his allies do, which is the reason I say that he's not going to be as strong of a shaver than his allies will. He just benefits less from his own auras. Note that this buff in its base form is not very strong, and it also is prone to be weakened if he gets hit by any attacks. Its duration is decreased by 1 whenever he's hit. However, Hero's Rhyme 2 is a stronger version. The potencies are nearly doubled of all of these auras. However, it's only in Hero's Rhyme 2 if his other buff variant is active, called Awakening Courage. Awakening Courage is a self buff that increases his attack and max brave to make up for those missing auras from Hero's Rhyme. Note, however, that Awakening Courage is not always active. It flips states with another buff called Omen of Courage. Omen of Courage is flip-flops with Awakening Courage based on his skill 2, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So Awakening Courage and Omen of Courage switch with each other. The difference between them is Awakening Courage is pure attack and max brave, activates Hero's Rhyme 2. Omen of Courage, while that's active, Hero's Rhyme is active, the weaker version, but it also gives Edward self HP regen and 100% evasion. So basically, he goes into an evasive stance where he can't be hit, and he's able to heal himself every turn. So that's the way his buffs work. He chooses between providing less party utility to protect himself and going into a more party offensive state. So, how do these work? Skill 1 is his more offensive ability. It's called Bard Song. It's a party battery based on his max brave that also does an AoE brave plus HP attack. This is how he refreshes his Hero's Rhyme buff, and it also applies a generic defense down debuff to the enemy party. Skill 2 is Hide Return. It flip-flops between Hide and Return. So this is a little bit more nuanced. Hide is an instant turn rate free turn skill. When he uses it, he dispels Awakening Courage and puts on Omen of Courage to himself. He also batteries the party based on his max brave. This means he goes into his evasive stance when he uses it, and what hide changes into return. When he uses return, he switches out of Omen of Courage and into Awakening Courage stance, and he does a single target Brave plus HP attack, and then gains Brave based on the damage dealt. So that's how it works. Note that when he uses return, it does not cost an ability used to do it, so it's basically one ability used to use both hide and return. And that's how he controls which stance he is in, Awakening Courage or Omen of Courage. His EX ability is called Mystic Waltz. It extends all of his debuffs by 1 turn on all targets. He batteries the party based on his max Brave and then does an AoE Brave plus HP attack that does full damage to all targets. And then he inflicts a unique debuff called Debilitating Tones. This is a stackable debuff that is also applied to all targets at the beginning of combat. Each stack does a different thing, kind of like how Pain Stress Spheres buff does different things at every stack. So at stack 1, it reduces targets int Brave. At stack 2, it also decreases max Brave. And at stack 3, it also decreases attack and prevents the enemy from gaining Brave. So that's pretty strong. If Edward can get it up to 3 stacks, he's reducing int Brave, max Brave attack, and preventing Brave gains by the target that's affected by Debilitating Tones. It just takes him a little while to build that up. He also has, while buffed, Brave plus plus and HP plus plus. Brave plus plus batteries the party based on max Brave, and HP plus plus batteries the party based on HP damage dealt after he deals the attack. His additional ability is Brave Heal All Buff Longer, where he batteries the party based on max Brave, and also extends his own self buffs by 2 turns. And then finally, we have his LD ability called Lullaby. His LD ability has 3 uses to it, and it does a couple important things. Number 1, it is a gravity shave attack. It reduces all enemies' Brave to 0, regardless on what their Brave is. It extends all self-inflicted debuffs, all self-inflicted debuffs on targets by 1 turn, and it batteries the party by 80% of his max Brave. And finally, it inflicts a unique debuff to all targets called Sleep for 5 turns. Sleep makes targets unable to act like paralyzed, it reduces defense, and the way Sleep's duration ticks down is 2 ways: at the end of every turn, and also if that enemy is attacked, its duration is decreased by 1. So, the way you want to use Sleep is if you do not want that target to be able to act, you need to be avoiding attacking it for as long as possible. Also, when Sleep wears off, the target's action is delayed by 1 turn. So, in whole, the way Edward works is as follows. He is a massive party aura bot that can decrease and increase his auras based on whether he's in a defensive evasive stance or in an offensive stance. He provides substantial party batteries on most of his abilities he uses. Almost everything he does will provide some Brave gain to his allies and himself. He is designed to inflict debuffs to the enemies, make them easier to damage, make them weaker for his allies. So basically, he's playing the true supporting Bard role. The only thing really missing from Edward's kit as a support unit is party healing. That is the only thing he cannot do. And I think that's an important thing. As I said, the one nuance for his kit is the hide return mechanic. You want to try to use hide and stay in Omen of Courage as little as possible, only when you need the invasion, and get out and switch back to return as soon as possible in order to get Hero's Rhyme 2 back to full power and get your party auras to be as strong as possible. You want to build up Debilitating Tones as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and you want to try to avoid draining down Sleep stacks if you're trying to keep a target from being damaged. Okay, I think that's everything, so I will pass it over to Mino and let him say his piece, because I know he has a lot to say about Edward.
So much to fucking say about Edward, but we have limited time on the podcast, so I'll be considerate. I'm just going to spend about 30 seconds talking about gameplay mechanics and then 10 minutes talking about why everyone that hates Edward is stupid. So let's start with gameplay mechanics. Touching on stuff, I'm sure the other hosts are going to cover the majority stuff, and there's this pretty good eval on Reddit if you want to read my thoughts. But besides that, the only things that Kreese didn't touch upon that I will touch upon is Edward has the makings of a truly meta character. And what does that mean? It means that at his worst, if you read no tooltips, no infographics, do zero fucking research, and just press buttons, he is still a far above average character. It is fucking ridiculous. You cannot fuck up, okay? Because, look, you can take a character like Waka, and if you miss the rolls, like at his worst, his RNG is shit and he doesn't get the buffs he needs, and he's a terrible fucking character. It sucks, you know? Or you can take Alize, and if you run her in any fight that has any absorptions or anything, her efficiency is suddenly cut by a shit ton, and she's crap. You can't use her, okay? Edward, there is almost nothing in this game that shuts Edward down. First of all, he has one of the highest max braves in the fucking game, and every single button you press is a minimum of 25% max brave battery to the party. Minimum. Every button, brave plus, HP plus, the AA, his EX, his LD, all of his abilities. You just press a goddamn button, and every other party member is getting at least like a third of their brave batteried up. All right. And then his debuffs, like we're talking about margin of error, okay? Kreese walked you through the mechanics. Ideally hide, Kreese said, you use it defensively. If something's targeting Edward or there's an AoE coming, he'll just hide, cancel the attack out, mitigate the AoE brave damage and HP damage, and then he can come back, heal himself, and that's an instant heal, by the way, and he comes back and he's fucking fine. All right? But let's say you don't want to play defensively and you're just like, I want to press skill 2 as many times in a row as possible. Boom, you hit it once, it is a free turn, 60% max brave battery to the entire party, and heals Edward by 30% of his max HP. And one button, free turn. Then you can hit it again, and it doesn't cost an ability use. He comes back, dumps all the brave he just gained, does a big brave plus HP attack, and then batteries the party by 30% of the HP damage he just did. You can just hit that fucking button. You don't even have to be like, hey, I'm avoiding attack. You can just be like, I'm mashing this button, and suddenly my party is almost fully batteried out. And Edward just did a big hit and buffed the party and refreshed his buffs and his auras. All right. He puts 0 buffs on the party, but has a net total of some of the highest auras in the game. Okay, 85% without the AA, 95% with the AA. The only people with naturally higher attack buffs than him are Bosch and Sarah. And Kimari, you know, if you want to throw him in there. Highest overflow in the game at 40%. Decent max brave and int brave at 40% as well. And, you know, an 80% brave regen for your party. So pretty standard, almost all stats buffed. Very little upkeep. Because, again, let's talk about worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, Edward puts on his fucking auras and he gets hit and his 10-turn duration drops by 1 duration. Okay? And this is on his skill 1. He can throw that shit up whenever the fuck he wants. You take Alphino, who has the same auras. In fact, Alphino has slightly less auras. And if he's broken, bam! All his fucking auras are gone, and you need to wait until the EX charges up before you can reapply it, and he's afraid to get broken again. All right, that's the comparison you're making. At worst, Edward loses 1 turn off his 10-turn duration. You just hit skill 1 again. Even if you don't even want to refresh the buff, it's another 35% max brave battery. Like, what the fuck? Any button you press is a win button here. All right. Or take the comparison. You want to use sleep, right? Sleep, Kreese was saying, ideally, at best, you don't hit the enemy at all. It is 5 turns of paralyze followed by a delay. But if you want to bring, say, Arden and Noctis and Lightning partnered up with Edward and just be like, fuck it, I'm going to hit the enemy as many fucking times as I want. Sleep is like, okay, well, Sleep loses the duration every time the target is hit. But also, in an AoE situation, you can sleep 2 of the 3 bosses and focus 1 boss. Those others will be sitting in paralyzed hell forever. And even if you want to hit the target, it's a 20% defense down on top of his generic 40% defense down, for a total of 60% defense down. You can throw in some other frame defense downs and bam, you know, like, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, hit. At worst case, you're doing more Brave Shave with the defense down. And you get the delay guaranteed as well. Also, don't forget, it's 100% gravity. The only on-demand 100% gravity besides Edward is Amitatelian's LD. Edward's LD has more uses. You throw the fucking sleep on there, the defense down, the paralyzes, and people they're getting their breaks they need. They're getting the shaves. The breaks are instantly pushing the enemy turn back. The delay, once it runs out, is on. Like, you can't fuck up with Edward. Everything he does is super, super fucking good. And to hammer that in even more is that his unique debuffs, but I was just corrected on this shortly, is his unique debuffs, there are no enemies immune to them for a long, long time in JP. Debilitating Tones is EX. 100% up to this point in JP, nobody is immune to it. Okay, whereas you take like cheese like HP Silence with Arciela and Kefka, or Terror with Eldnarsh, or hell, lightning absorption with Desk, and suddenly, like, these guys are just shut the fuck out. Nothing shuts out Edward. It has been brought to my attention, Kais LC and Kais Lufania and the latest Lufania are immune to sleep, but I think it's really funny that 8 months later, they're like, hey, this debuff is too good. Like, we need to make this we need to make this boss immune to a debuff that came out 8 months ago. It's really fucking ridiculous. Edward is just mash buttons and win. You can play him well, optimize him, get a lot of mileage out of him, or you can put a blindfold on, hit buttons, and you will still win. Like, the auras, the batteries, the utility, they're just fucking ridiculous. But okay, that's not important. Let's get to the important thing. There's a lot of fucking people here in chat, especially Inkwelder, especially people from Xeno server. I don't know how you missed the memo. Everyone's like, Edward's a coward. Do you not see what Square Enix is trying to tell you? The event is called Melodies of Courage. His buffs are called Omen of Courage, Awakening Courage, Hero's Rhyme. It's like people don't understand what courage is. I've said this a lot. Like, Edward is a pacifist bard, normal person, and among demigods, and he chooses constantly to return to the fucking battlefield and do his thing. And that's why he buffs his allies so much. It's so inspiring to have a normal person fighting alongside them that doesn't have a fraction of their fucking superpowers and is still joining the fight. Like, there were studies, I remember learning this in college, that kids hate Robin and kid sidekicks in general, but they like Batman, because kids don't like kid sidekicks because it reminds them of their own helplessness and frailty and powerlessness, and they choose to instead indulge in the power fantasies of these adult superheroes who are practically invincible. And I implore you to take a look at yourself, for some introspection, and say, can you do a fraction of the things Edward does? Can you take hits in the face from demigods and come back to the field of your own volition? I think anyone that calls Edward a coward needs to really take a good, long, hard look at themselves, because most of you don't even have the courage to pick up and learn a musical instrument. This is targeted at Mithrin specifically. I just want to make that clear. And Arrow, any thoughts on that?
I mean, you pretty much hit out everything I was going to talk about.
Except why he sucks. I think you had some thoughts on
Well,
that.
do I have anything to say why he sucks? I mean, I don't think this is a bad character. I just don't want to pull on this banner when I know what's coming in the future it's Palum's LD. I mean, why pull now when I don't think I'm going to need this character? And I want the other character later more. It's kind of how I feel about it. So, like, I mean, I like this banner because it's a really, like, one of the most stupid, beginner-friendly banners since ever. Like, you can't really screw up any of the 3 characters on this banner, like how to play them. They're all really basic, but really good at what they do. So if you're a beginner, this is an amazing banner. Dump everything you have into it because it's going to get you pretty far in the game. That's going to be my only thing I can say that won't probably be said by anybody else.
Yeah, so we did have some downsides to Edward. He has a lot of upsides, and he's really good. And you're going to see a lot of people talking about how good he is in Lufania because he's useful in Lufania, quite a few actually. And you can go to the Tonberry Troupe Lufania page and check that out. So here are some notes from an unnamed individual who doesn't like Edward. I won't say who it is. Sleep debuff goes down a turn whenever enemy is attacked. So you got to be careful parrying him with AoE attackers that will run through his debuff, requiring a little bit of timing and setup. Of course, that's, building around characters. In Lufania, bosses cleanse their debuffs very often at various HP thresholds throughout the fight, meaning it will be hard for him to maintain 3 stacks of his debuff. Also means that you need to time when to apply sleep so it isn't auto-cleansed. Again, something you can plan around, something you can think, but it's not just press button win, right? He doesn't heal anyone but himself. As a support character, it's always nice to have those healers, but you're going to need to probably bring somebody else to do the healing. He doesn't carry you, right? He's not a character that's going to solo Lufania. Not that there is a lot of those characters, but every time somebody, gets hyped around a new character, that's not who he is. Not saying that's a bad thing, right? Also, a valid point, a lot of people already have characters that do what Edward is notable for. So for veterans, he is a character, even thinking ahead to Lufania, that you could skip. Ragin, Eldnarsh, Arciela, Bosch, Gladio, Warrior of Light, all can do some of the things that he does. So, again, that's from an unnamed source I won't go into. But Edward is an excellent character. Let's do our multi polls. Oh no, Chris, you want to say something?
I was gonna say one or two wrap up things. While you're right,
Please.
there are a lot of characters that do what Edward does. I'm going to kind of agree with Mino in that, in the sense that you can never have too many supports. Like, I always feel, especially when I jump to Entropy, that it's like, okay, who's going to be my support for this tier, because all my other supports are locked in other tiers. So I always feel like you can again, it's like you can never have too many supports. You always want to have a nice variety of supports. You always want to have more options. So even if you do have characters that do fill similar niches, it's never wrong to have more.
Well, I think that's true of supports and tanks. I've said that several times. If you could have them all, I think that would be great. You always need them, that's for sure. So Edward's good. Let's be clear. He is really good. Check out Mino's evaluation on Reddit, and we will link that as well in his Reddit page. Came out of retirement 11 months to do this wonderful evaluation. So do go up there.
Has it been 11 months since his last
evaluation? It has been 11 months, and I believe the last evaluation was Golbez EX? Not Golbez. Garland, maybe?
Garland release.
Garland, yeah. Garland's first time, not his last chapter, obviously. So, hey, so we got a free multi-draw. So if everybody hasn't done it, I'm going to do mine if you're on there. Strafe, go to, I'll link it here if I can find it. I'll link it right now.
Good. I was about to link it, but if you want to, I'll let you.
Yeah, I'm going to link that evaluation, so you can go check that out right now. Or maybe.
When was it posted? I didn't see it when I was checking Reddit earlier.
I
don't check Reddit frequently.
All right, so I'm doing my multi. I was automatically doing it.
3 hours ago. That's
got a harp.
Oh,
it's 15 or 35. I don't know what his freaking harps look like. So I got on my multi-pull, I got a 15 Edward, I assume this is Palum's 15 CP, and Palum's 35, which I don't have fully. How did you all do on your free
I got
multi?
a Palum 35 and an Edward 15.
I got the LD and a Palom EX. I don't really know what to say. I don't want to pull anymore for Edward. Maybe this is one of those times you're supposed to use EX tokens. Maybe that will be if I feel a need. Right now, I'm not feeling the need, so I've character boarded my Palom already. Purpled the EX. I'm ready to rock the co-op with my purple Palom. I will be one of 5 people yet again with the built Palom.
Is anybody else going? Wish me luck. I got my spoon. I know Mino's going for this. Are you using gems, Mino? tickets?
The original plan was gems, but I have too many tickets, and I don't like banking tickets like some of the other people. I really want to fucking lower my ticket count. So if Ink's listening to this, I'm probably gonna throw a couple hundred tickets and then go for gems if I don't get it.
There you go. So you start doing that. Crease, are you pulling Arrow? Are you gonna pull any more? You got his LD right on the free pull.
Right.
Arrow wins.
Yeah, I may ticket, but I'm not going to gym pool anymore. Sorry.
I want to pull for Edward because I just defended Edward so much like Mino did. And the only reason I am not is just that he's sandwiched between a lot of banners I am pulling for, plus I had 2 back-to-back pities earlier this month, so that's the only reason I'm skipping Edward.
Well, there's Edward's EX on my second ticket.
Still need his EX. I'm 50 tickets in, and I got everything but the EX, and I'm pissed.
Oh, you got the LD. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, Edward is just, I'm skipping Edward just because of timing.
All right. Well, while I do this, let me look and see.
Do you want me to go through the podcast polls?
Yeah, could you do the podcast polls for us, Crease? That'd be
Okay,
great.
let me do the podcast polls. So, these global results are going to be a little low for Edward because it is not live, or it just probably went live on the main chord server. But here are the results so far for global. 5 people said they were going to go for Arden BT here on the Edward banner. 18 players said they were willing to pity Edward LD. 8 said they were going to throw gems at this banner. 89 players said they would be throwing tickets, and 56 players said they would be skipping.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, a lot of players playing to LD pity, so, and that number will probably go up once the global results increase.
Hey, we do, even though we've not had a chance to play this event, I mean, I just played a couple stages, we do have some, thanks to Rem, our friend Rem at Dissidia Database, and Macnell at DissidiaInfo, have a little information about the bosses. They are these flying chicken-looking things, right? I don't know what they're called, but they're weird-looking. They, most notably, start the battle with a 30% brave reduction. They are the first enemy, I believe, that we have battled that starts with brave reduction. A lot of them got brave reduction at 50% health or 80% health. So they start with 30% brave reduction, and then they go to 40% and then 60%. They don't enrage, so you can kill one first if you really want to, but very, very interesting. They do have some notable debuffs in their big attack, and they also have this ability called Avatar Needle, which grants them a 1-turn damage up and a 1-turn brave up, so you want to be careful. If you get that, that would be a good time to hide, because the next attack is going to be real nasty. So we'll talk more about that. They have some other nasty little attacks, but the interesting part was they do actually have they start with that brave reduction. So you'll notice right from the start your characters are not doing the same kind of damage that you might be used to. All right. Well, I'm still pulling, but maybe we have some host discussion, Crease?
Yeah. Sure. We can do some host discussion questions. So we'll start with the oldest questions. All these are from the past week because we did a purge. We cleared out a lot last week. So LaFarl starts with, hello, with almost everyone receiving an EX+, let's look back at who received an EX followed by a realization later. Who do you think received the most notable change thanks to their EX+ realization? And they use the instance of Beatrix receiving a new gimmick, thanks to her 3/3 giving her the special HP plus. Yeah, they said we could hold off until everyone gets an EX++ or EX+, but I figured we'll just do it tonight. So I actually liked Beatrix's realization. I know that was the example they went with, but I liked the fact that Beatrix got that HP damage nullification for a turn with her realization. That was a really nice gimmick that she got. and I've used that to great effect in multiple instances. I'm trying to think of another one that I really liked that came with realization. I'm gonna have to pass for now. Mino, do you have any one that comes to mind from realization purposes?
Not fucking really. I got a biased answer, I guess. Kane's EX Plus was really nice. The AoE delay plus the battery into the full launch, that's been speeding up my raid. That sped up my raid farm significantly, and it's a big improvement. And I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Arrow?
Man, I want to say King. I mean, I don't know, man. That rework, and then on top of that, that beautiful, simple rework, and then to just top it off with that EX Plus, he has one of the most smooth, simple kits in the game, and it feels so good to play. It was so good and fun to play for so many months. I never got sick of it. I don't know why. It really should have got sick ages, like faster, I feel like, but it never did. So I'm going to go with that. And then I guess the other one that really changed the character a ton, I mean, I'm thinking either Fujin or maybe Waka. I mean, both of those, man, they just kind of...
Just to make sure that you understand the question correctly, it's characters that got an EX and then a realization later.
No. Right. Oh, and a realization later.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's so hard.
I know.
You know what, Freya? I really like that whole, what is it? That passive thing, the soothing petals. Man, that gimmick's really nice. I really like that a lot. I felt like that made her just a lot better. And then they added on top of that, what is it? I know she didn't get a rework, but really, I mean, she came out and then didn't get touched till this EX Plus. I'm going to count it. And then that whole thing with the battery on the EX, I don't know. I really liked her a lot. That was a really cool additional gimmick to have on an EX Plus that I didn't expect her to get, was that soothing petals thing.
I don't know where Black Cloud is, but for him, I'll say Yuna, because if you remember playing Yuna with her EX only, you had to work way too hard to charge that EX. And so with her EX realization, being able to start with the EX active, to start, not even to start with the EX active, but to start with Valifor active was so... Black Cloud's always there when you speak his name. I didn't even say it 3 times, and there he is. He'll tell you Yuna sucks, and that is true. Yuna does suck, but her EX Plus was a big change from her EX, which obviously was a big change from her base kit. They still haven't got it right, so I'm looking forward to LDBT, but yeah, definitely.
I actually did come up with one, Zidane. Zidane going from EX to realization was a huge change. The mug skill, I love that skill. It allows for amazing setups, because I usually don't even use it necessarily right after using his EX. I sometimes save it for a turn or two and just wait for the right opportunity to go from mug into skill 2 sometimes. So yeah, I love his EX just because it's such a strong skill now, plus it's a great setup for when I want that free mug use. So yeah, I like Zidane's EX realization a lot. It really did give him a huge boon.
Great question, Faro.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that was just a massively underrated character, and he's still silly good right now. I don't know what happened there with him going under the radar like he did.
Yeah, Drew Zane says Garnet. Yeah, that's an understatement. Yeah, she drastically changed, including a new animation from EX to EX Plus. So yeah, very good. Yeah, and Tara, yeah, went from bad to really bad.
Pikachu said Tara went from really good to bad.
I have one other, I think we've all forgotten for some reason, was Yuri. Wow. Could you go, that character changed from like doing hardly anything, and he was really just a gimmicky, like iBrave regen character with some nice gravity shape, to just being able to spam his skills constantly and call up his sister with his EX. Oh my gosh. That was like, that was just so fun for a long time. Sadly, Brave Reduction has kind of kicked him in the nuts, but otherwise, yeah, pretty great character until then. Very underrated after a point too, because I mean, he had that month he shined, and then there was that whole Holy Absorb section of the Chaos era, and then like I guess he just kind of got forgotten after that. It was a little sad.
Oh yeah, we got some good Good examples in chat: Ragin, Pinello, Rosa, Afmao, Vivi. Yeah, not quite. Poor Vivi. Yeah, so LaFaro, great question. Good discussion. We can talk more about that. But hey, let's get another one in.
Okay, X asks, with the significant number of tickets being given out in the newest Beatback event, they're now in a position where they have capped tickets. What are the host views on throwing tickets at a banner that was originally a skip? Their example is Kimari, simply due to the number of resources available. I have been using, just for the last couple months, I've been using tickets more liberally than I have in the past, just because I've been sitting closer and closer to the ticket cap. But I kind of knew that going into this era, that I would be throwing tickets more liberally at certain banners. So I'm fine with throwing tickets at banners that you might have thought were easier skips before. Just make sure you're budgeting your resources correctly, and don't throw tickets at banners unless you are willing to unless you're willing to invest in the weapons or do something with the weapons if you actually get them. Like, just don't throw tickets if you have no interest in doing anything with them, is what I would say. Mino?
Skip. Come back to me. Arrow, come back. You answer. Come back to me.
I'm confused. What's the question again? I had to step away for a moment.
It's, what are the host's views on throwing tickets at a banner that was originally a skip, simply due to the number of resources available?
I got it.
Oh man, that's so easy. I always use tickets on everything. I never have tickets. What are tickets? For to use them all the time. That's what they're for, and that's why I have so many things hoarded in my inventory.
Yeah, I do the same. I've been looking for banners to throw shit on, like Kimari's. I think they use as an example. Currently, as we speak, chat knows this. Somebody just gave me great advice. I fucking forget because I'm so distracted hitting this ticket button over and over. It was here we go. It was Soge King. Thank you. In 50 tickets, I got all of Edward's weapons except for the EX, and I could EX token it like he suggested, but I hate being capped on tickets. Hoarding is a disease. I am leading by example by dumping tickets until I get the EX, just because I don't like having this many resources. I had 1,300 tickets going in this fucking banner. I keep trying to spend them on shit. The game won't let me. And now I'm almost 500 deep trying to pull the EX. I refuse to switch the EX tokens. I want to empty my fucking tickets because having extra resources is not good for you. If you guys ever quit DFFOO and you have like 500k unspent gems like some of these people did when the challenge quests came, then that is so much wasted fun, potential, time, resources. Like, if you don't spend it, you can't take it with you. All right, spend all your fucking resources. What are you guys saving for? I am trying to dump all 1,300 tickets right now to chase Edward's EX, even though I have 20 EX tokens. So just spend. Mark.
20 EX tokens. Seems like a lot. Oh, no, yeah, you can get 20, right? Yeah, with the extras. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, there's a question. I don't realize how many tokens we all have actually gotten. There's another question about that. Yeah, tickets are crap. Tickets suck. They're worthless. As I just pulled another BT on tickets. Yeah, if you want something, use gems. If you are like, yeah, Edward's great. It might be nice just to have his kit around in case I need him one day. Then you throw tickets on him. Oh yeah, Kimari's nice, and I'm still chasing at Arden's BT. Might as well throw some tickets on him. That's what tickets are for. Tickets are for, hey, I'm skipping Kefka's cycle. I'll throw some tickets on the LD banner because, hey, LD BT characters bring you through some challenge quests, right? That's what they're for.
Guys, tickets are useless. They don't guarantee you anything. There are some people out there who said, hey, I threw 70 tickets at this banner and didn't get the LD. This is a bad pull night for me. I need to stop this banner. I quit this game. My mental health is at stake here. Like, what the fuck, guys? On tickets, you have a 1.01% chance of getting the burst. And you guys are like, oh, I gotta get these 3 tickets from this fucking 20th Chaos co-op run. that might be a BT, and then I don't know. You guys are fucking ridiculous. Tickets have zero worth.
Tickets have zero worth.
Zero fucking worth. Go play the lottery.
Oh, hate tickets. They've never gotten anything good on tickets. I just hate them. That was what? How many was that, Moo Meister? Somebody tell me how many did I start with? Like 330 or 408. Yeah. So there you go. Tickets. Good conversation though. Chris, is there another question?
Hold on. Aeodid Phoenix says 140 tickets is 50% chance of an LD. 50%. If any of you guys actually took statistics in school, the first thing my fucking statistics professor said, and he hammered this in like every couple of weeks, he said, guys, statistics don't mean anything. It's 100% theoretical. Learning statistics is just an educated guess on trends. That is it. Percentages mean fucking nothing. You get guarantee on nothing. You don't stake anything on percentages.
That is also true. Anyways, why was I pinged? Co-hosts, explain yourselves about what.
Oh, I don't know why. Why were you pinged?
B&Q pinged us, and I don't know why. Anyways, back to questions. Energy asks, with how expensive this era is, do the hosts find more temptation to whale than before? Or were y'all prepared enough? My answer is that I have not felt any temptation to whale yet. I was prepared enough for this era. I knew what we were getting into, and I have been fine. I've had some bad banner pulls. I've expressed those feelings on this podcast, but I've been okay. Mino?
Arrow, go first. Let me come back.
God, I'm sorry, guys. I started zoning out. What's the question again?
Were you prepared for the LDBT era? Have
you felt the temptation to whale more, or were you prepared for this era?
I knew I was going to spend more because there's a lot more things to collect again. So yeah, I've probably spent a lot more gems than I would have expected, but I've gotten everything I've gemmed for. So I can't complain either. So I'll keep going. I just play this game for fun, y'all. At the end of the day, I can't get the thing I want. Or the main things I want. I need to make sure I'm saving for those things. Anything else is just gravy to me.
I think I was prepared for this era. My stash isn't that great, honestly, but I think it's funny that it's definitely hit the community a lot harder. I've seen everybody hypes everything up. Every LD character has a lot more people pulling, and even in preparation for Lufania, like there's so many people even in our own circle that are like, guys, these BTs, I gotta pity like 5 of them in a row. They're all so good. And the LDBT formula is really working because everyone thinks everything is so fucking good. Like I know people who joined JP about a month or two ago just to start like playing with the future stuff, and I see the same pattern every time. They pull Terra and they're like, guys, Terra BT so OP, so good. Look at all this old ass content I'm clearing with just her. She's carrying my entire team. And then Garland comes out, guys, Garland LDBT so good, like getting me through the newest content. And then Golbez just came out, guys, Golbez even better. And it's like, come on, you have to understand this power creep. You don't need every BT back to back in a row. Yet there are just so many people planning, like, I need Sephiroth, Lightning, Cloud, and Ramza and Onion Knight all back to back to back. Oh, and then Pestle comes after that. Guys, I need to, my 500k stash isn't enough because I need every single one of these BTs. Like, guys, you guys are hyping. Like, if everyone's so good, who is actually good? Take a hard look at how much content these guys actually get through. Everyone's always like, the newest BT, so good. I guarantee you can skip like 3-4 of these BTs easy. You don't need Sephiroth and Cloud and Pestle and Ramza and fucking Terra all in a row, guys. Calm the fuck down. But no, it's definitely fucking with people's judgment. I remember back in the day, people were like, I got the meta character, I'm good for 3 months. Now it's like, guys, I need the new weapon every 2 weeks.
Well, that's how they've designed challenge quests. I mean, you don't need, obviously, there's a lot of people that have been able to pull very limited and get through the challenge quests, and you can do so pretty easily. But yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
sorry, really quick. Infamous Element in chat makes a great point, saying like, Noctis BT, Arden BT were very hyped in GL as well. Yeah, a lot of people pitied Noctis BT because they're like, oh guys, Noctis is so OP. And then Arden right after, I need Arden BT too. Like none of these BTs were anywhere close to being fucking necessary. I haven't gotten a BT since Shantoto, so that's like 3+ BTs ago, and you're just one-shotting all the challenge quests and entropy tiers. Like, they're not only are they not great, but by the time you're like, oh, maybe they'll have some Lufania value, by the time that comes, the newest BT will blow them out of the fucking water. So I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate mail from this. Well, no, TCC will get a lot of hate mail from this. I'm not even officially part of TCC anymore, but Noctis and Arden BTs, extremely fucking overrated. People will talk about how OP they are. I guarantee you they're like, oh, hey, Noctis BT, you can do 0-turn runs on some of the Lufanias. I bet you 99% of these players aren't going to fucking do that. They'll just pull for like Warrior of Light BT and just knock it out of the park. Or like Cloud. Come on, guys. You guys aren't riding Noctis and Arden into Lufania. Let's be fucking real. You guys fell for the hype, and we're in garbage time where the power isn't even needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, were you gonna say something, Chris?
No, I was just gonna comment to Mino. Yeah, I pulled for Arden or pitied Arden BT because I wanted Arden BT, not because I needed it. Kind of like how Mark pitied Squall BT because he wanted it. It's kind of one of those things where we wanted it for our collections, not because we needed it for content. We knew the power level wasn't going to hold up to the hype, but it was one of those things where we just liked the characters that much.
Yeah, I saved an exceptional amount of resources going into this era so I could pull pretty recklessly in this era. That was my intention for several reasons. So, I've spent over 400,000 gems and over 1,500 tickets since LDBT has launched. I have all the I have all the BTs. I don't have all the LDs. I have quite a few of them, 12, I think. Certainly didn't need all the characters. Obviously done all the challenge quests, but certainly didn't need all of those and won't use all of them consistently. Now, there's some Squall, obviously a favorite of mine. Renoa, obviously a favorite of mine. There's some characters that I think are fun to play. I think Arden and Noctis are fun to play. Ended up picking Shantoto and Bon up fairly easily. So, hey, they're great. But, I think you got to figure out how to play this era. I was talking about this in our Discord, and you can join our Discord. A lot of good people there. But the majority of people who play this game, even folks, because I made a comment, I said the majority of people who play this game have very few resources at any given time. And I said that's probably not the case here in our Discord. I was corrected in general chat as all the people said, like, yeah, I got less than pity right now. The general population does not have an abundance of resources. They continue to pull, continue to play, and as long as you can do that and have fun, it doesn't matter. Or if you're really lucky, it doesn't matter. In our inner circle, there's a lot of people who have a lot of resources. I just saw Hiramura Cat's on here, and he definitely has a lot of resources, but plays his own way. Pulls for the characters that he likes to play. Check out his Twitch; he's always good to watch. But yeah, so many of our friends have just a lot of resources, and they're very strategic in how they're planning. I, look ahead and try to plan out, especially focusing on favorites, those waifus, husbandos, right? The characters that you really want. That's what I want. I want to have enough resources to make sure I have what I want. I'm not going to chase the new shiny thing of the day just because it is. I'll throw tickets on it maybe, but there are characters that I really like. I've kind of mapped out which are my favorite characters. Those are the characters that I want. And so, I still have a healthy horde after spending 400,000. If I hadn't spent any, I could have been fine. It could have skipped challenge quests, not been an issue. Would have had 1 million gems. And then what? But I've had a lot of fun spending the gems. I've had a lot of fun making videos. It's helped our channel. It's helped our podcast. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. So yeah, Mino was going to add some stuff.
Yeah, Ray Aki in chat says, I personally enjoy building teams around the knocked BT and getting in all that extra damage. Look, if these characters are actual favorites, then no, all power to you. We always say pull for favorites, and if you're actually having fun and enjoying them, more power to you as well. These are great cases. I was mainly talking about people who are hoarders who pull only for meta to clear content and then fall for the hype, and then like they cite really bad resources. Like again for Noctis, they're like, Noctis is used in Lufania like for 0 turn clears. He can like trivialize Lufania for the first 3 months. Look at these videos. And then if you ask Black Cloud here, who is our experienced JP player, he's like, dude, those Noctis runs are really big brain. Like very few people can actually pull that off and pull all the people around him. And remember, we have all this all the time. When Ramza BT launched, wasn't there this Facebook post that Inkwelder tore apart? They're like, hey, if you pull Ramza BT, you can save on, you don't need to pull characters for like 8 months. And then Ink like circled all the fucking characters that that guy had.
That was Heist, by the way.
Oh, Kais, what? Yeah, but like these comparisons that are like, hey, pull this one character so you never have to fucking pull again. Like Noctis and Arden are not those fucking characters. If you have fun with them, it's a blast. But if you pulled for them because you saw them in Lufania 5 months down the line and you think you won't have to pull for anything else, you made a big fucking mistake. Like a lot of people are really hinging on these BTs. I will say, on a very serious note, I'm really serious about this. I joke about gem hoards and stashes a lot, and I always downplay or upplay however I'm at. But really, in our inner circle, I was definitely for the longest time on the lower end of having gems, even though by a normal person standard, it's probably a lot of gems. In our circle, we have the craziest fucking hoarders because they make all the content and they study the trends, and they are able to save over 1 million gems easy. And I couldn't compete for the longest time. Now I'm actually in the upper half because I made a resolve to never chase a BT, period. I have 0 plans to pity any BT. I just do my normal pulls, and if it comes up, great. If not, whatever. Like I said, missed out on Von, Noctis, Arden, didn't even like blink. It doesn't affect clearing content and getting resources at all. If you think these are really fun, go for it. But if you're pulling to clear content, a lot of people are in for a rude fucking awakening, because when that first Lufania Tower tier dropped, everyone needed Pestle and or Cloud and Ramza BT. Unless you're planning to pity those 2 specific BTs, none of the other BTs are really going to fucking help you. Now, Tier 2 of Lufania Tower has dropped and is a little more forgiving, but again, it is like 1/4 or 1/5 of the available BTs can actually clear this content. A lot of people are finding that a lot of these BTs are not doing shit for them. Like, for example, not to shit on Squall's BT, because again, great character, has its uses, but if you're pulling to clear top-end content like Lufania Tower, even Squall BT on launch, once he got his rework, everyone's like, this is so OP, Squall's so good, pull for him, because 8 months later he gets good, still not good enough to do Lufania Tower. So like, unless you're doing meticulous research, only 3 or 4 of the BTs are actually going to get you through all the content out of the 10 plus we have available now. So everything looks new and shiny, but not everything is practical. Arden and Noctis are not on that fucking list.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, as our friend here, Moracat, says, it's okay to have low gems as long as one is sincerely happy with either the short moment with pulling itch scratching, medium with the benefits of hopefully having a successful pull, or long with the following reason why they came to DFFOO. So, yeah, there's all kinds of different ways to play, and I think you just got to find the way that makes you happy. And for a lot of people, that is pulling. And I think somebody was saying, when I get bored, there's nothing that helps me want to play the game more than a shiny new weapon. So I 100% agree with that. Yeah, Chris, I think we probably got time for another question. We can go in the post.
You want to do one more last question?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Meow, with a couple extra W's at the end,
Meow.
says, if you were to advise a new player, when do you think is the best time to start using tickets as opposed to gem pulls? Should a new player only use gem for a minimum amount of banners before considering ticketing a banner? When should a new player use tickets? Oh god. Ig's gonna have a field day with this when he hears this, if he isn't in chat. No, he isn't. Okay, so, Meow, here is my opinion. When you are choosing to pull on a banner, you should decide ahead of time if you want to use tickets or gems, and decide ahead of time what your budget is for that banner. Do you want to go all in? How many gems and tickets do you have before you begin? And all of that stuff. We've discussed this, and I believe the Tonberry Troupe has a budgeting guide on their site. Am I right?
That is correct.
For this. So let me find this resource and I'll put it, and we'll get a link here. Beginner basics. I think it's in the beginner basics. Pull strategies. Yes, here we go. So if you are listening to us live, I will put it in chat. Pull strategies. The basic idea is you want to have an idea on what you want to, and this, my pull strategy isn't going to be exactly the same, but you want to have an idea on how much you can afford to invest in a banner. And you want to know how many resources you have going into the banner. If you know you cannot walk away without the weapon, make sure you have the resources so you can guarantee you do not walk away without that weapon, which means having 75,000 gems, aka the resources to pity the LD/EX. Yeah, you need to have that. If you get to the point on an LDEX plus or EX banner where you get to 75k gems spent, you have the 300G tokens, then you will want to start spending tickets if you do not get either of them. So you can continue polling with tickets to see which you get first. And I think that's the basic gist of it, if you're trying to pull for both of those weapons on a single banner. There's more to it than that. There are more nuances, but that's the basic gist of it. If you cannot walk away without the weapon, you want to start with gems. If you are willing to take the risk and okay, it's okay if I don't get this, I can walk away without this specific weapon, then you want to start with tickets and just go tickets. Did I miss anything, or does anyone have a contrary opinion to what I said?
Yeah, you guys are overthinking this shit. Tickets are worthless. I throw them at literally fucking every banner that I'm missing a weapon on until I'm out of tickets.
I'm with Mino. I've always done that. I never have tickets. I don't know what the heck tickets are for other than to be spent immediately. Yeah, that's what they're for. You spend them because you want nice new shiny toys to play with every week, it feels like.
Okay. I mean, if this person cares about pull strategies, then you save tickets up to a certain threshold. Otherwise, then you can do what Mino said.
I mean, as a brand new player, it's always tough. You got to pick a banner and get a few characters that can help you through content. And so you have two different, I mean, you have a couple different ways to do that. You can, like I'm talking brand new player. You either can try to get tickets, which is not easy as a new player, or you can save up 75,000 gems and make sure you get a good banner with a few different characters. Edward's not a terrible banner. You have Hope is a good healer. Edward's obviously a great support character. Palum can be your damage dealer. But I think ideally, if you could basically save gems and just kind of pull on tickets to get you through normal content, so that you can start doing summon boards, you can start doing lost chapters, you can start doing regular content. There's a ton of content and a ton of gems. So and Power Stones, Summon Biscuits, great point. Power Stones are real scarce as a new player. That's the biggest thing. But yeah, for a new player, I mean, you
Mac,
want
let's make another point.
Yeah.
Make sure you get all of the weapons for a character off the banner. So while the LDs and EXs are important, make sure you get the 35 CP, at least one copy of the 35 CP weapon and the 15 CP weapon, and make sure you fully limit break them. Make sure you fully level them up so you get the passives unlocked, and then you can sell them afterwards.
And to add what Macnol and Kreese just said, I know this idiot. Let's just call him Zeno. He has like 600k fucking gems, and he says he has no power stones, so he keeps ticketing and lucking into all these weapons and kits, but he's unhappy because he doesn't have the power stones to actually realize all of them and play the characters and use them and play the kits. And so it's like, if you're only pulling for one copy of everything and relying on power stones, eventually you're gonna hit a wall. It's okay to pull for dupes because each dupe saves you 4 power stones. It's significant. So don't be afraid to spend your extra resources. Don't just get one copy, call yourself lucky, and then be able to not use the character.
Oh, that's a very good point, especially as a new player. Getting those extra dupes really helps save you those power stones that are going to be rare and scarce.
Yeah, and you can check out Zeno TXB Gaming at the link that I just shared there. We love Zeno. He's always fun.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking over you, Mark. But I do want to point out, like, this month, they clearly have intended it for new players to be joining the game the way it's been set up. So, with Arden, with Maria and Lilithette, that was like a full team right there. What was the other banner with Renoa? There was Renoa. They had Alphanaw and Kane.
Yeah, it's a good banner. Good
That's
banner.
an amazing team.
Yeah.
Like, the only real bad team banners are actually the Lost Chapter banners this month. Like, yeah, you could still do it, though. Like, what is it? Kimari, Yuna, and Noel will get you through a lot of content early on. And that's kind of what matters most is, that's actually a team. It's not a top-tier team, but it's a pretty good one. And then, like, what's the other one with Emperor? It's going to be Emperor, Furion, and Gilgamesh. Yeah, that's probably the worst team banner this month. But they're all okay characters. Every one of these, banners for a new player this month, they're pretty much gold. And that doesn't happen often. So they've definitely intended this month as a month we're trying to draw in new players.
It's really tough in this era because let's say you pick that Renoa Alphanaw Kane banner is an excellent team. That's an amazing team. Obviously, you wouldn't have resources to purple everybody right away, but that's a really good team. Could get you through a lot of content. But what happens if you pull the burst weapon and then you have players with burst-only Ardens? So, at some point you almost want to think about, picking a burst banner to kind of use gems on and try to get that protagonist LD if it's a character that you really like. So, but yeah, it's tough as a new player. Thankfully, we're going to have, in a couple days, free multis every single day with protagonist EXs. That's going to help. It's going to be a really good time, middle of this month, to start. Right now is a really good time. There's tons of free banners. So if I was a new player playing today, I would do all my free pulls and use whatever I got to get through as much content as possible. And then I'm do all of those EX pulls and just build up my weapons, build up my power stones, and then kind of look ahead, talk about, okay, who are my favorite characters? Are any of them coming? Save resources to get some of those good characters, some of those favorites. So, yeah. 5DPZ is saying you can re-roll for a burst if you're a new player. Yeah, you could. Re-rolling in this game is a little more complicated, but if you really like to re-roll, you can even re-roll the free pulls until you get something good. So, and then go back in for re-roll the multis, the free pulls, until you get a burst, and then go back, save gems, and get the LD. So, all right. Well, I think that's going to be it for our show. This has been episode 122 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded on October 8th, 2020. Looking ahead, we have the second part of the Autumn Festival on the 12th. Protagonist draw banners every single day for 18 days. We will get a free multi with the protagonist EXs. Dimensions and Entropy also dropping on that same day. Heretic event, Intercession of the Wicked. That would be Kefka's LDBT. Supposedly, all on that day. So the 12th will be a busy, busy day. We'll have a lot to talk about next week. The 18th is Emperor's Lost Chapter, Dastardly Dominus with his LD, and then Strago's event, mystery character, on the 22nd, and the next Squex community stream the following... So I'm going to leave all the links to all of our friends in the show notes. Our website, tccpodcast.com, our Discord, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Arrow's YouTube channel, Crease's Twitch channel, Mino's Reddit evaluations, all the Tonberry Troupe folks, their stuff, tonberrytroupe.com, Macnell's website, DissidiaFFOO.com, all of our mod team, Inkwelder, J.A, Jin Lee, Macnell, Quetz, Strafe, Dreamy, Jin Lee, HaateXIII, Ryan is the Bomb, Black Cloud, Shara, Ricky Shrew, Teleute, Vane Novus, and of course Pierre. Many thanks. Thank you, all of you. I appreciate every week you guys coming out, being with us live. All of you listening as the podcast, thank you for joining us every single week in your DFFOO conversation, whether you're listening to it on your favorite app or you're watching it on YouTube or Twitch video on demand. We got people watching it all different ways. Really do appreciate you spending time with us, and it's just a fun thing that we can do. So for myself, Mark, Arrow, Crease, and Mino, thanks. Good luck on your Edward pulls. And if you're not pulling, that's okay. There's going to be plenty of polls to talk about next week. We'll see you all then. Goodbye.